Lewis and Reinhold, The Roman Revolution, Part 2. The agitation of the Italian allies for Roman citizenship, which had been growing ever since the death of Gaius Gracchus, flamed into armed rebellion upon the assassination of their latest champion, the tribune Livius Drusus. The establishment of an Italian confederacy in the mountainous districts of central and south Italy and the mobilization of a large, well-trained force initiated a fierce struggle which exposed Rome to her greatest peril since Hannibal. Although most of Etruria, Umbria, Latium, Campania, and the Greek towns to the south remained loyal, the Romans were forced to call auxiliary troops from the provinces. In 90 BC, after several reverses, the Roman passed the Julian law, granting full citizenship en masse to all communities in Italy which had not revolted, and probably authorizing commanders in the field to bestow the franchise on provincial auxiliaries as a reward for valor. Early in 89 BC, the Pontium Papirian law offered citizenship to individuals even in rebellious Italian communities, except for a few diehard Samnite bands. The revolt collapsed after 2 years, but out of the crucible of the struggle, there emerged for all Italy south of the Po Valley a uniform citizenship which, in the next two generations, was to weld the peninsula into a common culture. The long smoldering fires of an Italian war were now fanned into flame by the death of Drusus. In the consulship of Lucius Caesar and Publius Rutilius, all Italy took up arms against the Romans. The rebellion began with the people of Asculum, who had put to death the praetor Servilius and his deputy Fontius. In it was next taken up by the Marcians and then made its way into all the districts of Italy. The fortune of the Italians was as cruel as their cause was just, for they were seeking citizenship in the state whose power they were defending by their arms. Every year and in every war, they were furnishing a double number of men, both of cavalry and of infantry, and yet were not admitted to the rights of citizens in the state which, through their efforts, had reached so high a position that it could look down upon men of the same stock and blood as foreigners and aliens. The war carried off more than 300,000 of the youth of Italy. On the Roman side in this war, the most illustrious commanders were Gaius Pompeius, father of Pompey the Great, Gaius Marius, already mentioned, Lucius Sulla, who in the previous year had held the praetorship, and Quintus Metellus, son of Metellus Numidius. On the Italian side, the most celebrated generals were Silo Popedius, Herius Asinius, Insteus, Cato, Gaius Pontidius, Telesinus, Pontius, Marcus, Ignatius, and Appius Mutilus. So bitter was the Italian war and such its vicissitudes that in two successive years two Roman consuls, first Rutilius and subsequently Persius Cato, were slain by the enemy. The armies of the Roman people were routed in many places, and the Romans were compelled to resort to military garb and to remain long in that garb. The Italians chose Corfinium as their capital and named it Italica. Then, little by little, the strength of the Romans were recruited by admitting to citizenship those who had not taken up arms or had not been slow to lay them down again. And Pompeius Sulla and Marius restored the tottering power of the Roman people, except for the remnants of hostility which lingered at Nola. The Italian war was now in large measure ended. The Romans themselves exhausted, consenting to grant citizenship to the conquered and humbled in preference to giving it to them as a body when their own strength was still unimpaired. While these events were occurring on the Adriatic side of Italy, the Italians of Etruria and Umbria and other neighboring peoples on the other side of Rome heard of them and were all excited to revolt. The Senate, fearing lest they should be surrounded by war and be unable to protect themselves, garrisoned the seacoast from Kume to the city with freedmen, who were then for the first time enrolled in the army on account of the scarcity of soldiers. The Senate also decreed that those of the Italians who had adhered to their alliance should be admitted to citizenship, which they practically almost desired and gladly accepted. By the favor, the Senate made the faithful more faithful, secured the wavering, and mollified those at war by the hope of similar treatment. The Romans did not enroll these new citizens in the 35 existing tribes lest they should outvote the old citizens in the elections, but incorporated them in 10 new tribes, which voted last. So it often happened that their vote was useless, since a majority was obtained from the 35 tribes that voted first. Gaius Pompeius, son of Sextus, commander-in-chief, in reward for valor, made Spanish horsemen Roman citizens in camp at Asculum on the 17th day of November in accordance with the Julian law. On the general staff were Lucius Gallius, son of Lucius of the Tromentine tribe, Gaius Octavius, son of Quintus, the Salutan squadron, Cinebelster, son of Adingibas, Ilurtibas, son of Bilastibas, Istopilis, son of Ordanas, Tersino, son of Ostinco, Cainius Cornelius, son of Nessil, Publius Fabulus, son of Ensignin, Gaius Pompeius, son of Sextus, commander-in-chief, in reward for valor, presented the Salitan squadron in camp at Ascalon with a hamlet horn and a plate, a necklace, a bracelet, breast pieces, and a double ration of grain. Roman citizenship was granted by the law of Silvanus and Carbo to all whose name are listed in the citizens' roll of allied communities if they have, that is, at the time when the law was passed, a permanent residence in Italy at the time of the passage of this law, and if they make applications before a praetor within 60 days. While Carbo and Marius were still consuls 109 years ago, on the calends of November, Pontius Telesinus, a Samnite chief, brave in spirit and in action, and hating to the core the very name of Rome, collected about 40,000 of the bravest and most steadfast youth who still persisted in retaining arms, and fought with Sulla near the Colline gate, a battle so critical as to bring both Sulla and the city into gravest peril. Rome had not faced a greater danger when she saw the camp of Hannibal within the third milestone than on this day, when Telesinus sped about from rank to rank, exclaiming, "The last day is at hand for the Romans," and in a loud voice exhorted his men to overthrow and destroy the city, adding, "These wolves that have made such ravages upon Italian liberty will never vanish until we have cut down the forest that harbors them." In the consulship of Quintus Lutatius Catulus, son of Quintus, and Marcus Aemilius Lepidus, son of Quintus, grandson of Marcus, in the urban peregrined praetorship of Lucius Cornelius Sisenna, son of, in the month of May. Quintus Lutatius Catulus, son of Quintus, consul, consulted the Senate on the 22nd day of May in the comitium. Present at the writing of the decree were Lucius Feberius, son of Lucius of the Sergian tribe, Gaius, son of Lucius of the Publian tribe, and Quintus Petilius, son of Titus of the Sergian tribe. Whereas Quintus Lutatius Catulus, son of Quintus Consul, declared in a speech that Asclepiades of Clazomene, son of Philinus, and Polystratus of Garstus, son of Polyarchus, and Menicus of Miletus, son of Irenaeus, born the son of Thagelius, had stood by in their ships at the outbreak of the Italic War, that they had rendered valiant and faithful service to our state, and that he wished, if it were the senators' pleasure, to send them back to their homelands in accordance with the decree of the Senate, so that the public acknowledgment might be accorded them in return of the good services and valiant deeds performed by them on behalf of our state. Concerning this matter, it was decreed as follows: as Asclepiades of Clazomene, son of Philinus, and Polystratus of Charistus, son of Polyarchus, and Meniscus of Miletus, son of Irenaeus, born the son of Julius, be proclaimed gentlemen of character and friends of Rome. That the Roman Senate and people judge that their services were good, valiant, and faithful to our state, for which reason the Senate decrees that these men, their children, and their descendants be exempt in their own homelands from all compulsory public services and taxes, if any taxes have been exacted on their property since these men left their homes on behalf of our state, that these be given back and restored to them. If any fields, houses, or possessions of theirs have been sold since they left their homes on behalf of our state, that all these be restored to them in full. And if any due date for meeting obligations has passed since they left their homes on behalf of our state, that this circumstance shall not be damaging to them in any way, nor indebtedness to them shall on this account be any less valid, and their right to sue and exact payment shall not be in any way impaired. Whatever inheritance have fallen to them on their children, that they may have possess and enjoy them in whatever suits they, their children, descendants, or wives may bring against another, and whatever suits others may bring against them, their children, descendants, or wives, that they, their children, descendants, or wives shall have the right to choose whether they wish to have the case tried at home according to their own laws, or by an Italian jury before our magistrates, or in some one of the free cities which have remained uninterruptedly in the friendship of the Roman people, and that wherever they prefer the trial be held there on the said matters, if any judgments have been rendered concerning them in their absence since they left their homes, that these revert to their previous status, and judgment be given anew in accordance with the decree of the Senate. If their cities owe any public debts, that they shall not be obligated to make any contribution towards those debts, that our magistrates, when they leased out the public land in Asia and Euboea, or impose revenue taxes on Asia and Euboea, shall see to it that the persons be not required to pay anything, and that Quintus Lutatius and Marcus Aemilius, the consuls, one or both, if they see fit, shall see to it that these men are entered on the official roll of friends, shall permit them to set up a bronze tablet of friendship and offer sacrifice in the Capitol, and shall order the urban quaestor to send them gifts in accordance with the official schedule, and a contract for quarters and supplies for them, and if they desire to send envoys to the Senate concerning their own affairs, or prefer to come themselves, that they, their children, and their descendants shall have the right to come as envoys, or to send such as that the consuls Quintus Lutatius and Marcus Aemilius, one or both, if they see fit, shall send letters to our magistrates who govern these provinces of Asia and Macedonia, as well as to their magistrates, informing them that the Senate desires and considers it just that these matters be carried out as they deem best in keeping with the interests of the state and their own good faith adopted.